I think we are live. Hey, 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 everybody. Happy Make Your Move Monday. This is Latrice McFadden coming to you live all the way from Durham, North Carolina on this semi rainy Monday afternoon. And I have, he's so modest, he just put James on here, but I have the honor of having Mr. James Monte Montague as my guest coming to us. It looks like that's your office all the way
It
from
is.
Raleigh
It is.
at
Yeah.
your senior community center. Is that where?
Absolutely. Called Elders Peak. Yep. Yep.
Yes, sir. So we had the opportunity. You gave Flo and I a tour of your farm, your ranch, not farm, your ranch, which I saw you had your first event recently, the wedding. It looked absolutely beautiful. You gave us a tour of your senior center. So I am delighted to have you here today with me to share a little bit about your story. Of course, you were an entrepreneur, you're a developer, locally, internationally, um, former uh, barber, and also just recently a new author of Hood Minted. So, again, I am so excited and honored to have you. And you're going to be our guest again on Juneteenth at
Yes.
the Tribal Wealthy Group event. So many things to share. So, that's just a little bit about you. Can you introduce yourself and then we'll just have a conversation?
Sure. Thanks so much, Latrice, and honored to be here on your platform on this rainy day. It's raining here in Raleigh,
Okay.
so we're gonna make it work still. So,
Yes, sir.
James Monte Montague. Most people know me as Monty. Born and raised here in Southeast Raleigh. Real estate developer. As you said, I started out actually cutting hair in the projects in 1983, which seemed like a lifetime ago. In the projects for 50 cents a head. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, so I was making a killing. But that's no money. But you start out where you got to start. Some people, say stuff like, "Well, if I had this much money, I could start." No, that's not how this works. You start where you are with what you have. You don't worry about
Mhm.
what you don't have. You focus on what you have, and you leverage whatever you have to get to the next level and to keep growing and keep growing. So that's what I've been able to do over the years. But James Monte Montague, real estate developer, CEO of F7 International Development, unlimited licensed general contractor. Recently, like you said, a rancher. Got a ranch, 40-acre horse ranch down in Mebane, North Carolina. And we'll talk about all that. But yeah, that's who I am.
Absolutely. I love what you said because part of the reason that the name of my company is Make Your Move, and I just deliberately didn't put real estate in it because I want to encourage people to make your move with whatever your goals are. Obviously, I'd love to help you buy and sell real estate, but make your move with whatever your goal is in life, whether it's business, relationships, weight, whatever it is, just make your move. So let's go back and start there. You said you started cutting hair at 50 cent a head. I don't think I've ever heard that one that low. But how did you get interested? Was it a friend or how did you just start? You have the entrepreneurial spirit then.
So in the 80s, a haircut was like $3. You could go get a haircut for like $3. And if you went to a big time barbershop, it was like $5.
Oh wow,
So,
okay.
so the barbershop that we were going to right in Southgate, where I grew up at, they were $3.50 for a haircut, and then school was about to start. They actually went up to $5. So that was
So
so far. I know a lot. I know like right now it's like $5. That's no money, but back in the 80s, that was some money. So you gotta remember that was the Price is Right time. That was General Hospital time. That was back way back in the day. So
yeah.
uh, when haircuts went up to $5, my mom was like, "We are no longer going to the barbershop. We're
Hmm.
right over here to Kmart. We're gonna get some clippers off of some wall clippers off of the Blue Light Special for $9.99. You're gonna cut your own hair from now on." So
Okay.
that's what she did. So we went there. We got the clippers, and then I started cutting my hair and started cutting everybody on the right and left side of me, and then I started cutting everybody in the neighborhood's hair, and then I cut the surrounding neighborhoods. So everybody was coming to me for like 50 cents. And that's how I started building up my clientele, learning how to serve people, learning how to interact, because I was very shy when I was a kid. But that kind of broke me out of my shell a little bit and got me to understand that you're not gonna make no money unless you can talk to people, and what they say, closed mouths don't get fed.
That's right. That's
So
right.
you got to learn how to network and talk to people and add value, and at the same time give them service with a smile. And so that's what I started doing, and I still do it today.
All right. So got out of your comfort zone. That's another tip. So we're gonna have some tips today.
Yes.
Um, Start where you are, get out of your comfort zone. And so then you started doing hair, and then I guess you went and decided to get your license because you were going to do hair, then I mean, cut hair, and then you decided to own your own barbershop. Tell us
So
a little bit about
I
that
went to
story.
barber school. I went to Harris Barber College right downtown Raleigh under Tobias McLean. He was the instructor. Went there, and while I was doing in barber school, I said, you know what? Since I'm out here anyway, I may as well go to cosmetology school. So I was going to barber school during the day and cosmetology school at night. So I
Oh
learned.
wow.
Yes, my days were packed up, and then I was cutting hair when I got home at night. So, I was really fully committed to it, and I wanted to put in my 10,000 hours. I always got to believe that whatever you do for 10,000 hours and do it with earnest intent, then you're going to be a specialist on it, and you're going to be really good at what you do. So I still believe in that. No matter what I do now, I don't call myself a professional until I get to my 10,000 hours.
Okay. All right. Another tip, another jewel. So got your license, both cosmetology and barber.
Hmm.
You decided that you weren't going, or did you start out working for someone, or did you automatically open your own shop?
Well, when I got out of barber school, I actually worked for Mr. McLean on New Bern Avenue, right across from the Blue Whale Car Wash. I worked there for like 2 years while I was building up my clientele. But my intention was to go ahead and get my own salon. So I opened my first salon when I was like 20 on Garner Road in Raleigh. And I wasn't a businessman. I just a guy to cut hair and do hair. And ended up making a mistake and not listening to the landlord when he was telling me that he was going to sell the building, and I actually got put out of my shop in one day. He told me that I'm selling this building, so you got to be out of here in 30 days. I was like, man, you just talking, because he was a jokester. He
Hmm.
was serious. So he had sold the building, and they came and padlocked the door, and I mean, within the end of the day, they had knocked all my walls down on the inside of the salon.
Oh my goodness. So
Yeah.
were you able to get your equipment out?
Well, I barely got my equipment out. My stuff was dusty from when they were like just going and knocking the wall down. I was like, what is happening here? So that was a bad experience, and I never wanted to be in a position like that again, where I was depending on someone else to rent me a space, and
Hmm.
uh, that's what I determined. I said, you know what, I really need to get my own space. Now I didn't know I was going to build a building for it, but I wanted my
Hmm.
own salon that I had my own lease, and I could come and
Hmm.
go as I please, and I at least had a 5-year lease. So I went from Bentmore Hills. I got kicked out of that space, went and worked for a friend of mine for like 3 months. And then God blessed me with the opportunity to get my first salon, my real first salon, where I was a leasee on in Southgate Plaza. So I stayed there for
Hmm.
5 years, and really, really went at it hard. Actually, too hard, because I ended up, at 26 years old, having a stroke at work.
Hmm.
Yeah, and almost died at work because I was not eating healthy. I wasn't exercising. I had never drank any water. You know how you drink bottles of water now? I had
Hmm.
never had a glass of water in my life.
What?
Yeah, I
What
was
did you?
like, I'm not drinking that. That's water. I want soda. So I mean, you got to think about it. I mean, at the time, I think 3 liter sodas. I don't know if they still even selling now. You know what those three big 3 liter sodas?
I don't remember. You telling our age? Stop.
Yeah, 3 liter
Blue
sodas you
Light.
could get for like 99 cents. So I was
Yeah.
like, this water they selling for $1 a bottle for a little bitty thing, like this, $1. Man, I could get a 3 liter soda for $3 for 99 cents. So
Yeah.
in my mind, that was a good deal. Not so much.
Yeah.
So not kicking nobody down in the soda industry, but I don't drink sodas no more. I watch what I eat now. I mean, I'm not 250 pounds anymore. You know what I'm saying? I'm down to like 179 now because I have a healthy weight now. I
Hmm.
understand the importance of not only being physically healthy, but also being mentally and spiritually equipped to deal with different people. Because if you're not healthy mentally and spiritually, then you can't bless other people. So,
Hmm.
and I know we'll get more into that later, but I just want to kind of throw that out there.
Absolutely. Okay. So got your shop, your salon. Then how did you had the stroke?
Yes,
And
yes.
I think I remember part of your story, but that stroke transitions you into development and real
Yes.
estate. Sure,
Because
tell
I
us
had
how
to
that
pivot.
is.
I had to learn how to pivot because, you know, the doctor told my mother I couldn't go back to doing whatever I was doing because I was, first of all, I wasn't eating right, I wasn't healthy. But then I worked 7 days a week and I was working 15, 16 hours a day. And
Hmm.
we're not talking about sitting at a desk. We're talking about standing up, actually going to the shampoo bowl and doing perms and doing colors and doing at the time carefree curls and stuff like that. I mean, that's some strenuous. I'm really telling our age now, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, that was some strenuous work. 16 hours a day, 17 hours a day. Get up, go home, take a shower, eat, come right back to work. You know, and that's not healthy and it's not sustainable. And
Hmm.
I was, damaging my body, damaging my mind, and my spirit was suffering. So, but the doctor told my mother I couldn't go back to doing hair. So what I did was I figured I had to pivot. I didn't know what I was going to do, and then I was blessed with a dream to actually build my first building. Now you got to remember, there was no like YouTube, there was no Google, there was no Facebook, there was none of that stuff that could actually help you do those things at the time. Like right now, if
Hmm.
I want to look up how to buy a house with no money down, I can put it in YouTube and 1,000 things will come up. Maybe some of them are
Absolutely.
garbage, but you're still gonna get something. We
Yep.
didn't have anything back in the 80s and 90s at
Yeah.
all. So that's when I actually got God gave me the vision to actually build my first shopping center right down on the corner of MLK and Rock Quarry. Bought the
Hmm.
land for $67,000. No, $65,000 for the land. Uh,
Hmm.
and come to find out the land value was about over $300,000 the day that I bought it.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
instant
so
equity.
yeah, so I had enough equity that I didn't have to hardly put no money down on the first building that I built. But again, I didn't understand all this, so this was thing that God was guiding me along the process, and
Hmm.
just been enlightening me and showing me stuff, putting the right people in my life to talk to me and say, I get a piece of value from this person, a piece from this person. I put it together, and I let them know I don't know what I'm doing. So
Hmm.
please help me understand what I'm doing so that I won't lose my shirt. And
Right.
that's project.
And that's another valuable lesson too, is to when you want something to put it out there
Yes,
and be open to receiving,
yes,
because it will come to you if you put it out there. So believing that it can be done and then putting it out there and receiving what comes to you. So
absolutely.
another valuable lesson. So you had this instant equity.
Yes.
You got the people, they came to you, they showed you how to do it. And I say you're aging because I actually met you when you owned that salon. Monica used to do my hair there. That's where I first met you.
Right, right. Yeah. Wow.
Yep. So a long time ago, way, way back. So I do remember those days of you coming in there and doing your stuff as well. So you did that. And then next step in the story, because some of it I've heard, we've had some
Right.
conversations, but I want to let
Right.
you share. So next
Well,
step, you got that building, got that salon, and
well, let me go back to this because this is very important too when it comes to real estate and development. So if that sounds all easy and good, it was not.
right.
Um, I actually got turned down by 17 different banks in the process of trying to do my first project. So that's
17.
a lot of banks to go
Yes.
to and to apply to and to sit there and to wait and get them to tell you no, and then you go home and you disgruntled and you're upset and it does something to your psyche. But it taught me how to be strong and understand that no is not always the worst thing.
Right.
Sometimes no can be really good for you. So I learned in the process, and every time I got told no, I turned the no into the fuel for the next application. So what
So
I
how
was doing,
do
I
you do
was using
that?
it to improve the next application.
Yeah, how do you do that? Because you it can be very discouraging, and you after two or three, most people are like, forget it. Let me try on to the next thing. How did you just continue to overcome that? And was it an easy thing, or you had to talk yourself through it a little bit?
No, it was very, very difficult. and because I didn't have the background, I didn't go to college, wasn't the smartest in school back in the day, so I didn't apply myself. Uh, it was a learning, it was a new process for me. And also understanding how not to take it personal when people tell you no. A lot of times they're not doing it because of they hate you or it's racism sometimes. I mean, I'm not saying it don't exist. Sometimes it's just that you don't know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So the no is like, no, you don't know what you're doing. I'm not gonna
Mm-hmm.
tell you, yeah, just because you're black. You gotta be good. You can be black and good, but you got to be good.
Mm-hmm.
So, by the time I got to my 18th bank, I actually was able to put together a proposal that was really good. As a matter of fact, the banker at that time said, "Look, who did this for you?" I was like, "I did it myself."
Mm-hmm.
He was like, "There's no way you did this." I did it myself because I had nobody to do it for me, and I learned every time I got told no. A lot of people instead of saying, "Well, I lost this," I say either I win or I learn. I'm not gonna lose.
Mm-hmm.
I incorporate the knowledge and the pain from that loss into a gain.
Mm-hmm.
There's no need for you to go through pain if you're not going to gain anything from it. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? That's just torture. Why are you going to
Right.
go through pain if you ain't getting nothing from it? You got to get something from it.
Right.
So,
Right. Definition of insanity: doing the same thing over and over again and hoping for a
getting a
different
different result.
result. Right.
That's
Okay.
insanity.
So number 18 said yes. After you
Yeah.
got over the shock of hearing yes, then
Yeah.
what
Oh
happened?
my God, man! Listen. I read you thought you'd have thought I won the lottery. I mean, because it felt so. It was such a relief to know that what God had showed me. I've exercised my patience and faith and perseverance, and I know I won't crazy because you got to think about it. After like the eighth or ninth time you get told no, you like, man, I thought God showed me that I'm supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying? But then it's like you start second guessing yourself. And it said, like in the word, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. So once you start actually second guessing yourself and doubting yourself, it can be
Mhm,
a downward spiral
mhm,
because
mhm,
you start telling yourself that you can't do something. And
mhm.
I always believe that if you tell yourself that you can't do something, don't try it.
Right, right,
Don't even try it. But
right.
if you tell yourself you can do something, you can do it. So you're
Absolutely.
gonna have what you speak. So once you start telling yourself no, the answer is no. But if you
Absolutely.
keep in your mind, yes, the answer is yes, I'm gonna make this happen. I don't care what I gotta do. I don't care if I gotta apply to 50 banks or 50 funders. I'm gonna make this happen. Once you get that in your spirit, nothing can stop you.
What was the time frame for how many months or did you was
I
this
think
over?
it took me. So I bought the land in 1990, end of 1996. I didn't actually get the funding for until about 18 months later.
Okay.
And then I started building the building. I finished that in the end of 1998. So I mean, it seemed like forever. I mean, I know that 18 months don't sound like a lot of time. That's a lot of time to be told no, and
Mhm.
you're going through stuff. My car, I had to sell my car trying to keep the payments on the land, and I was walking to work, walking 5 miles one way each day. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
But
Wow.
that what it did for me was, and I didn't take rides neither. People would stop and ask me, "Man, you want to take you to work?" I was like, "Nah, I got to feel this.
Mm.
I got to
Mhm.
feel this. I got to walk to work, so that'll be a part of my story." I know that sounds stupid, but I need to
Yeah.
feel that burn. You know what I'm saying? I need to
Right.
know that I don't even have a car.
Right.
You know, yeah, I need people talking about, man, he falling off. He ain't got no car. You see, he walking. I need that because
Mhm.
that fueled my passion for what I was doing because I could see the end goal, and turns out I was right.
Absolutely. So you started, you learned your lessons, you learn from the no's. Because a lot of times we see people's glory, but we don't know their story. So people might be like, oh, he just did this and this was easy for him. So thank you for sharing all of
Yeah.
the details. So
But
you
you
got
got to be
that.
honest because people don't gain from you being fronting and act like
Right,
you had some kind of silver spoon and everything was just so smooth and easy. No, that would be
right,
a lie. That would not be fair to me because then when they get out here and it's not easy for them, Then they think that, well, it must be something wrong with me because it was easy for him. No,
Right.
it won't easy for me.
Absolutely. So you got that yes, you built your building, and then what happened? What made you
So
say, "Oh, no, no."
yeah, got that yes, build my building, content, just saying, you know what, I don't need to do anything else. I'm good. I got this building here. I'm doing my, I'm okay. And then God starts to, as I start to pray and get meditated and get more focused on the Word and understanding wisdom, God started giving me visions and dreams about how I could serve my community better. And
Mhm.
in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I'm not going through that no more. Why would I do that? I mean, it's like getting out of what to say, jumping out of a pan into a fire or something like that.
Uh-huh.
Just getting out of it, and I prayed to get out of it. Why would I go back into it again?
Mhm.
And God gave me the vision to do my retirement home. Gave me the name for it, the location, and everything. I was shown in a dream in color one night. And
Mhm.
when I woke up and I wrote it down of what it looked like exactly, I drew it up. And I said, God just gave me this vision right here. And I showed my wife. She was like, "Okay, you tripping? You don't look. We just like to lost everything. You got to go back into this again." So but she stuck with me. I honor and respect in that because she has. I know it sounds crazy when you go from one project to the next like that, but she stuck with me and she was like, if you believe in it, I'm gonna hang with you in this. So we moved out of our new house into an old shack on Creech Road. So we had just got the house, and I was like, baby, we're gonna you ain't gonna like what I'm gonna say. We're gonna have to move out of this house and rent this one out, and we're gonna have to move over here. And then we talking about it was a shack in the woods, literally. So we moved from a new house, 3 bedroom, 2 bath house with on a quarter, half an acre over by Inlow,
Mhm.
to a shack in the woods on Creech Road. Because I said, so what we do is we're gonna save this money up and start paying on the payments, and then such and such put that equity here with this, and then she's looking at me like, I'm not doing that. I'm not moving there. So what I do is I say, okay, if I fix it up real good, will you move into it then? So I fixed it up nice and redid the floors and stuff like that. We moved into that. We stayed there, saved our money up, submitted for tax credits, which took 3 years. And I mean, it was just a whole process. But my wife stuck with me, and I spoiled her today because she stuck with me. She didn't see the vision, but she saw that I was excited about it, so she hung with me on it.
Mhm. I love that. I love that. Okay, so that moved on. You started this. You got the vision. How nursing home went smooth, easy
So
peasy.
no, that was not easy at all. It wasn't as difficult though. It took longer. So we
Mhm.
submitted for what's called low income housing tax credits,
Mhm.
uh, and we got turned down the first year. Now keep
Mhm.
in mind, I'm making monthly payments, big payments on this land. I got 13 acres of land. I'm just paying payments every month, paying taxes, paying everything, insurance, paying everything. And I got turned down the first year for tax credits. Got
Mhm.
turned down the second year for tax credits. So at this point, I'm just like, oh my God, what have I done?
Mhm.
I didn't understand that you don't have to buy the land first. It's ways that you can control land, whether you do maybe owner finance or you can do contract. You know how you make a contract. Uh,
Mhm. Mhm.
I forgot what you call. You know what I'm talking about. Chief. The
Construction to perm type loan or something like
Well,
that.
no, no. When you put it under contract, basically,
Uh huh. Mhm.
you have a closing date, maybe a year from now, and they
Uh
give you
huh.
time to get all your stuff. I forgot the
Right.
actual thing, but that's
Yes.
that's what I
I know
could
what
have done,
you're talking about. Uh huh.
but that's not what
Instead
I
of just
did.
buying it
Right.
that way
I
you
just
would. Okay.
bought it,
Mhm.
and so I'm sitting there making payments, and again, start losing stuff, and it's a whole bad situation. So, and then it started draining down on the building I just finished, and I was like, oh my God, I did too much. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Mhm.
Uh, but thankfully, I the city and the housing finance agency finally gave me the tax credits I needed on the third year to actually build this building that we're in right now. And
Mhm.
that building cost about $4.8 million. Got
Mhm.
some money from the city and got some money from different organizations. And today that building is worth like $9 million uh, as it sits here right now, and it's actually the best investment I made because I've been able to. provide housing for seniors 62 and up. 48 apartments. We have a library. We have. They don't have to go outside for anything. I mean, they've got a mail thing. They don't have a mailbox outside. It's all inside. Uh,
Yeah.
Snack room, library, community room, exercise room. Everything is right here.
It's beautiful, yes. I mean, one day we have to come and do a tour of it because it is really nice to
Oh,
have that type of housing available and to take care of it. So, and your occupancy rate is pretty high, right? Like,
oh yeah. No, we're
there was
100%.
one
Yeah,
open
we don't
when we
have
were
any
there.
vacancies. We don't have any vacancies.
So, yeah, and I think that person you had just moved them out, and you were ready to put somebody else in there because they
Right.
weren't
That's
acting right.
it. Yeah. I mean, you might have a vacancy for a month, but there's already somebody that wants that unit.
Wants it. So that's beautiful to be able to give back because
Yes.
even housing today. So we that's another story. So you did that, and I know we could be here all day. Let's talk about international. How did you go international with development? What have you done, and how did that come about?
So for that one, you got to fast forward to the 2008 recession. So between 1997 and 2003, 2004, I had built or bought 4 shopping centers and owned a retirement home. So I was
Mhm.
killing the game between in the early 2000s. And then this thing hit called 2008. And you might have some young people on call, so they don't know what that means. But 2008 sends chills down the average old guy's spine. Now, you were around then.
I remember.
2008 was rough.
Yeah.
Banks were not loaning money; they were calling notes. As a matter of fact, my biggest shopping center in Greensboro, which is called the Dudley Lee Cultural Commerce Center, right across the street from North Carolina A&T. I had bought that one for like 3 million. It was worth like 4.2 million, and I bought that in 2003. And in 2007, the end of 2007, right in the beginning of 2008, my bank called me and they called and said, "Listen, we got some good news, we got some bad news for you." And I'm like, "Okay, well, give me the bad news." They said, "Well, you need to pay us out." And I was like, "I just made the payment. What are you talking about?" It was like, "No, the $3 million." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And they said, "Well, it's going to be a recession. We think coming in the next couple of months." Oh, there ain't going to be no recession. It was a recession, but they I don't know what the metrics they saw, but they saw it coming down the pipeline, and they said it's going
Mm,
to be bad. So we're calling our notes because if we don't call the notes, we're not going to make it. So we need to be uh, capitalized or whatever they need to do. Call the
mhm,
notes. So I was like, this is crazy. So I ended up losing that shopping center. Oh, and then let me tell you. So then they said, I said, so what's the good news? He said, well, you got 30 days to bring us to $3 million. I was like, how the hell? How is that good news? How is that good news? I said, you could lump it on in with the bad news.
right.
So, but I ended up losing that one. I ended up doing what's called a deed in lieu of foreclosure. I had to sign that back over to the bank.
Mm,
I gave them that shopping center back. So I lost
mhm,
$1 million in equity like that.
mhm, mhm,
And
mhm.
that is painful. Uh,
Right.
but during that process, you asked about my international stuff. During that process, I had visited a political person that told me, listen, you need to start actually doing international business so everything that you have is not tied to your local community. Because when it's
Right.
tied to your local community here, if it goes bad in your local community, you're screwed. So
Mhm, mhm.
I started going back and forth. I went to Africa. That was no help because they don't have money to invest. As a matter of fact, they were looking for me to invest, and I ain't have no money. So, but when I got there, I saw the Chinese companies coming in building everything in Africa. Schools,
Mm,
roads, hospital, I mean everything. So I was like, "Listen, I need to go where they got their money from." So I started going back and forth to China, linked up with my mentor named John Wade, and we just started going over there, and he started introducing me some good people and government officials. We started creating what's called sister city agreements, where we did municipal joint ventures. We actually worked with the government of China to build a hospital in Oshobo, Nigeria. Uh,
mm,
and we got an award from the United Nations. We did a bunch of exchanges as far as cultural exchange, arts exchange, educational exchange,
mm,
looking into doing business exchanges. So that's what got me into the global markets. and
Mhm.
understanding that people are not so much different as you think they are. A
Mhm.
lot of people have more commonality than you really think. You just got to get to know people, and you can't
Mhm.
be afraid to have those awkward conversations.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I'm good at those awkward conversations. I don't mind having them. So
Mhm.
I built some really good friendships and relationships, and that's how I got to the global markets.
So did you like you went there and you actually built you hired the contractors there or what how did that what did you do actually in there?
Yeah, in Nigeria, we put the deal together. We actually developed. What we did was, as a group between us, the Chinese government, and the doctors in Oshobo, the Chinese government supplied the money and the technology and the doctors. We
Mhm.
actually put the deal together where we got the land, and we formed a team, and it was called a trilateral agreement. So everybody had a role in the development of it, and that's what we did. We were the glue for the team. We connected the Chinese with the African government, and then we came in and said, okay, this is the vision for the project, and this is what we're going to do. And they moved pretty quickly. We had it done in I think 11 months, and it's still standing to the day. It's in Oshobo, Nigeria.
So how did you because I don't think you had any experience with this. Somebody just said you should do this. How did you like overcome were there any like doubts of I don't know what I'm doing in a different country? And how did you overcome any doubts or maybe fears that you might have had in making that transition?
Well, I'm a student of the game, and at the time, in 2010, 11, when we started actually building the project, guess what we had? At that point, we have Google. At that point, we have YouTube. At that point, we have LinkedIn. So we have resources that we didn't have back in the 90s
Mm,
to find out if I want to learn something, what I need to do. I just put in a search bar and it'll spit out 100 different things. Now we even got more. We got Chat GPT. So so people in the 2010, 2015, we got something now that we didn't even have in 2015. So
right.
what I learned how to do is leverage every time a new way comes out to do something. I learn from it. I'm
Mhm,
not scared of technology. I incorporate the technology into whatever I'm doing.
mhm,
I
mhm.
wasn't afraid doing those stuff I was doing globally because then I had access to global information and technology.
Mm, okay.
1999, we didn't have that. In the 80s, you didn't have none of that.
Right,
So
right,
so you can see it was possible.
right. Okay. So international, and then now I know you got big projects in Durham, I think Asheville. You still doing anything international now, or where
So
are we? Where do we?
Well, it kind of slowed me down. COVID messed me up
Mhm.
because I was traveling to China 3 times a year. I actually was even looking at getting a place in China in 2018, and then 2019 hit COVID, so you couldn't even go over there. So you couldn't actually. Yeah, I don't think you could really travel a whole lot of different places. Then when you did travel anywhere, you got to have a mask, a gas mask, an in such and such. You remember how everybody walking around with the mask and stuff? So
I
I was
remember.
really interested in getting on a plane and standing on a plane for 15 hours and breathing the same air as everybody else, and,
Right.
and being sick. And I didn't do anything globally really since 2019. My first time actually traveling anywhere was in last year, 2024. I went to Dubai. But I'm about to start going back to traveling now because it's starting to normalize a little bit. But I
Hmm.
still got those relationships. So I'm raring to go for it. Uh oh. Did we lose your trees? Says offline.
Okay, there you go. He went out for a second. Last thing I heard was you still have those relationships.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and now they're stronger because they've matured more and they actually
Mhm.
see that the world didn't end in 2019. We're still the same people. We're just a little bit older,
Mhm.
but we still got those relationships. So I'm looking forward to seeing my friends back in Africa and in China.
Okay. All right. All right. So then the local projects that you're working on, a couple big things coming in Durham,
Yeah.
project in Asheville. Well, how did those come about? How are those coming?
So
Any?
those are a lot of those are joint venture collaborations. We've got like 5 of them with Greystone and Gilbane in Raleigh and in Durham. We're rebuilding Fayette Place, which used to be the Fayetteville Street projects,
Mhm.
right near Central, maybe 2 blocks from Central, in between Central and downtown. We're doing like a $470 million project there. I'm actually doing myself. My company's doing the townhouses for sale product, and we'll talk about that, as well as we're doing a innovation center, which is a commercial building. It'll be about 30,000 square feet. We'll be doing a 20,000 square foot grocery store and 10,000 square feet dedicated to small minority-owned businesses that are going to serve the community and be able to reinvest back into that community. So it's not a vacuum. A
Mhm.
lot of times when these communities like gentrify, people come into the community that don't serve the actual community. They
Right.
serve new people, right? And
Right.
then it's like a vacuum and they suck money out of the community. I'm not interested in doing that at all. So that's why we're doing that on the Fair Place project, as well as doing like 600 apartments. And then another one we're doing in Durham is on Main Street. We are rebuilding where the old DHA office is downtown
Mhm.
on
Mhm.
Main Street.
Mhm.
There was a little
Yep.
white building. So
Mhm.
we're doing a big development down there. I think it's like 9, 10 stories down there, which we do commercial on the ground floor a little bit, and then do residential apartments up top. Then we got another one in Durham. I partner with the People's Corporation, Donahue Peoples, which is the largest black developer in the country. Uh,
Mm.
yeah, People's Corporation. We're doing the 505 West Chapel Hill project, which is the old police headquarters
Yeah.
right across from North Carolina Military. You're familiar with Durham, so you know
Mhm.
exactly where that
I
is.
know exactly what you're talking about.
So we're
So
doing lights. Yeah.
tell us what a joint venture is. And then, yeah, what is, when you say joint venture, what does that look like? And can anybody do a joint venture or how does that work?
Well, I mean, you got to be able to add value. I mean, I guess anybody could do a joint venture, but when you're talking about doing, projects with larger companies and corporations, they're gonna want to show you at least. They're gonna want you to show at least as much value as they bring to the table.
Hmm.
So you're gonna have to be somewhat equally yoked on either knowledge, experience, or finance. So
Hmm.
it's all about finding the right partner and the right project. But each person or each member of the team, so you form a team, and each member of the team has a different skill set, a different amount of knowledge, a different amount of finance, or whatever they bring to the table. You bring that and you put that all together and say, okay, this is how we want to submit for this, and this is what we're going to do. And you need to make sure that you can actually live up to whatever you said you were going to do.
So there could
So
be different levels of joint venture. Like it
yeah,
doesn't have to be
I mean, you
like
could
the,
do a joint venture to build a tiny house if you
okay,
want to.
okay,
Just so I mean, I'm doing $400 million project, but I could do a joint venture to do a $50,000 project if
okay.
that's what I want to do.
Bring it together. Okay. And then let's talk about
Can
your,
you hear me?
I can't see you. Okay, there you're
Oh,
back.
hold on a second. My phone is tried to ring and now I'm stuck.
I see you. You're there. I can see you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you and I can
You
see
can
you.
hear me?
Yes,
Okay,
and I
I
can
can't
see
hear
you.
you.
You can't hear me?
Maybe I need to hang up and call back in.
I don't know. Can you hear me now? No? Okay.
So bad.
Yeah. Let's see if we can hang up and call back in then. Can you hear me? All right. Well, while he is hanging up and calling back in, he's going to be one of our panelists. The Triangle Wealthy Group is actually having a Juneteenth event on Juneteenth, Thursday, June 19th, from 9 to 3. We're going to be at the Self Help Credit Union, and it's going to be on commercial investing. And that's okay. You're back. Let me bring you back. Yep. Let me bring you back up to the stage. All right. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yeah, I don't know why the phone just ringing. It just went crazy. I got stuck. I couldn't hear you at all. So sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. So let's talk about your ranch and then we'll talk about your book and a couple other things. Tell us about the ranch. How'd the ranch come about?
So the ranch is actually called the F7 Blackstone Ranch. It's a 40-acre property in Mebane, North Carolina.
Hmm.
Kind of how that came about was, I do a lot of prayer and meditation I know it sounds weird, but I get up at 3 o'clock every morning, and I want to hear the voice of God and what He has in store for my life. And the only way to do that before I start getting them crazy phone calls is to get up before anybody else.
Mhm.
So I do my prayer, I do my meditation, I do my exercising, and one morning I was just put in my spirit. God was like, "Don't say no,"
Mhm.
and I'm sitting here like, "What does that mean?" You know what I'm saying? So I'm googling it. I'm on YouTube looking. I'm like going through the Bible. Like, I've never heard that before. So
Mhm.
again, I prayed about it and said, well, "What does that mean?" And I was not shown anything. So then about that was about 3 o'clock that morning. So about 7:30 that morning, I had a lady call me, and she was like, "James, I need you to buy my ranch." And I'm saying like, I don't want no ranch. I mean, what? Why would I buy a ranch? You know what I'm saying? And so
Mhm.
the, when I was about to say I'm not interested, I looked on that paper that I had wrote down. Don't say no, and it's like, oh, okay,
Um,
wow, okay. And I told her, I said, absolutely. So she said, okay, so this is what I need you to buy. I said, look, you don't have to do that. I'm not going to tell you no. I'm telling you right now, yes. So she was like, yes, really? I said, yes, absolutely, yes.
wow.
So, and then we put it on Facebook the next day. We went down there. I don't know if you saw it on Facebook. A bunch of people had watched that on Facebook Live.
Mhm.
But um, yeah, so that was really one of the best decisions that I made because we bought that to do an equine assisted mental health and wellness facility.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because a lot of times people are dealing with PTSD and don't even know they have PTSD. We
Exactly.
always associate PTSD with like veterans.
Right, right,
What we don't understand is you can be from the projects and have PTSD if you came in a certain situation. You could be from a abusive household or a drug filled house, just a bad situation and
right.
have post traumatic stress disorder.
Exactly.
I bought that to be a place of healing, uh,
Mhm.
mental, spiritual, and physical healing.
Mhm.
When you walk on the ground, which is like I said, 40 acres, and I think that's ironic that it's actually 40 acres,
Right.
and it's a horse ranch, which is close to a mule as you're gonna get.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So, but it's a place of healing, and we bought that, and then we've actually expanded it now to have family reunions,
Mhm.
uh, you know, trail ride type because we got 40 acres. We had our first wedding Saturday.
I saw
It went off successful. We have another one coming up on the 21st of June. We have, I mean, all different types of things we're going to be doing out there in events, STEM camps. We're going to do retreats. I talked to a gentleman the other day. He wants to do a car show out there. Um, uh, so it's a place for the community to use as a resource.
Mhm. Mhm.
We also have 14 horse stables, and we'll be
Mhm.
doing jazz and gospel concerts out there. So
Nice.
yeah, so we have a special VIP area out there for people that want to take in a nice environment. We have some beautiful lakes out there. We got three of them.
Yeah.
Uh, Fishing. I mean, everything you want to do out there, you can do.
Exactly. And it's beautiful. I mean, when I went to see it, you were, it was a work in progress, so I
Yeah.
know, but it was beautiful then, and it was
Oh, you
just,
should see it now.
very.
It's laid out now. It's laid
Okay.
out.
Then we're gonna have to make another trip. We got to come back out there. Maybe we can do another live out there so we can tour the facility because I know I love spaces like that. So and the water, absolutely beautiful. All
Appreciate it.
right, ranch. Now you wrote a book. We were talking about that just when you did that tour for us. Now it's out. It's in my cart in Amazon. I haven't ordered it yet, but it's coming.
Okay.
Um, tell us about the book and what made you decide you wanted to write the book, and tell us a little bit about it.
So the book is called Hood Minted. HOOD uh,
Hmm.
/MINTED.
Hmm.
And it's about it's not just about my story. It's about my background, but it's also a blueprint for success for anybody that wants to understand what you actually have to do in order to be successful in any form of business. It's not just about real estate. Mine just happens to be real estate,
Hmm.
but the book is more about who you have to become to attract success.
Mm.
You know, You can't be the same person that you were last year and expect to have a different result. You have to actually become the person that deserves that result.
Mm,
So a lot of that has to do with mindset. And in the book,
mm,
I talk about um, how a lot of us are our own like bully. A
mm,
lot of us, and I give an example in the book of, if you were, if you saw two of your supposed friends over in the corner talking somewhere, and the closer you got to them talking, you realize they were talking about you.
mhm,
I mean, kicking you down, saying that you can't do this, and he's stupid, and he don't know. They mean talking noise about you. The
mhm,
first thing you would do is be like, "Hey, what y'all doing? Why
mm,
why y'all talk about me like this? I thought we were cool. So you would straighten them, right?
mhm,
So
mhm,
if we do that for somebody else, what about when we start having those own thoughts in our own head?
mm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What do
Mhm,
we what do we why do we get so upset when other people are talking about you and what you can't do? But when you're saying that you can't do something, why is it okay?
right,
It is
right.
not okay.
It's not.
It's not okay. We have to, you know, I was reading a book in the Bible the other day where it was talking about, I think it was some people in the temple doing some things. And they were doing what they weren't supposed to. I think they were changing money in the temple or something like that. And
Mhm.
somebody came through and just started tearing up stuff because
Uh-huh.
they were doing everything and admitting different stuff in the temple that they weren't supposed to do.
Mhm,
But this right here, this is my ear, this is
mhm,
my nose, this is
mhm,
my temple.
mhm,
You understand
mhm.
what I'm saying? These are
I
my
do.
temples. So
Right.
I can't admit anything negative to come into these temples because this temple right here is also sacred, right?
Mhm,
So if
mhm.
we don't treat that temple as being sacred, we're just as bad as the people that brought garbage into the physical temple. This is the mental and spiritual temple for us. So we
Right.
can't allow those negative things to come into the temple and to dwell in the temple.
Mhm,
Because when we do that and you start having those negative thoughts and you telling yourself, no, you can't do this, and you speaking negative because you're thinking negative, you're creating a whole negative circuit.
mm.
There's
Yes.
nothing, there's no positive energy coming off of a negative circuit.
Right.
So
Right.
we have to understand that in order for us to move to the next level and to be progressive and to be natural, because there's nothing in nature that is not set on growth.
Mm.
Everything in nature is set on growth. Everything in nature is set on growth. Trees, grass, animals, everything in nature is set on growth. And if we're natural and we are who God says we are, then we have to understand that we should be set on growth as well,
Mm.
right?
Yes, absolutely.
So, I mean, the book is a bunch of different stuff about that and kind of how I started and then how I think. Because it's not important that I've accomplished things. What's important is that you can glean from my experiences to accomplish things on your own.
Mhm.
Like the old guy told me, I can't chew your food. You see what I'm saying?
Yep, I don't want you to either.
Yeah, they
But
don't want me to. Your food, look, yours is yours. So my thing is,
right,
you know, yeah, you can be happy for me and my success, but that ain't important. What's important is
right,
how can I help you be successful?
right, right. And that's beautiful to be able to want to give back and to be willing to give back because the more that you give, the more you receive. And like I was saying earlier, a lot of people here, they see your success and they just don't think that it can be done because they think you started, you dropped down from heaven,
Yeah.
you
And
know?
all of a sudden just start just buying up stuff and doing stuff. Man,
Right.
I've been through hell. But the crazy part about it is a lot of people say that they overuse that and they don't understand what they're actually saying. Uh,
Hmm.
I ain't been to hell. I went through it.
Hmm.
So you go through hell, that means that you went to it, you came out the other side, and you're able now to look back and reflect and say, you know what? What did I learn from that?
Right.
And
Right.
not only what did I learn from that, how can I do more and give back so other people don't have to go through the exact thing I went through? You
Hmm.
shouldn't have to, if you're a friend of mine or if you bought my book or whatever, you shouldn't have to go through the exact thing I went through because I'm telling you, don't do this. I'm
Right.
telling you, move this way. I'm telling you to use this resource. Go to YouTube, reach out to people on LinkedIn. I'm telling you, you don't have to use an encyclopedia to get knowledge. Back in the 80s, you
I
had
was about to say, I might not know what an encyclopedia is these days.
yeah. If you use an encyclopedia nowadays, it's something wrong with you.
Yeah, yeah,
If you ain't
yeah.
going to your phone or your computer and using Google, you know what I'm saying? Something's wrong
Mhm.
with you. It's not. You don't want to be successful.
Mm, absolutely, because the resources are there. You
Yeah,
just have
there.
to take them and
Yeah,
apply them.
yeah. You don't have to use them if you don't want to, but I would
Mhm.
strongly suggest and recommend that you do that.
And I think we've talked about, you said mentors and mentorship. Getting do you recommend that it's like a formal relationship or just get out there and just talk to people? And what is your take on mentors and having mentorship and being a mentor or guide, whatever?
Well, I mean, my take is a little weird because I do what's called a stupid phone call. I don't do it as much nowadays, but when I first get started, especially, I would do what's called a stupid phone call. And if I
Mhm.
saw somebody that impressed me, like Mr. Peoples, Donahue Peoples, when
Mhm.
I saw him, I think it was on like CNN like 10 years ago, and I was like,
Mhm.
man, I seen him up there, black dude, man, driving a Rolls Royce and such and developing all this stuff. I was like, yo, I need to meet this dude. I want to work
Mhm.
with this guy. So I was like, I'm gonna call this Joker. You know what I'm saying? But I said, well,
Uh-huh.
let me do this first. Let me study this man first, because what you
Mhm.
don't want to do is waste people's time. That becomes
Mhm.
harassment.
Mhm. Mhm.
I said, you know what? I'm gonna just reach out. I'm gonna touch bases with him, but I'm gonna say one day we're gonna work together. And I'm gonna tell him I'm in a market that's expanding and such, and I've given the stats of the market. And
Mhm.
back then, Raleigh wasn't hot like that. So
Mhm.
he
Mhm.
probably just looked over and said, whatever. Everybody tells me that. So,
Mhm.
but I was consistent. So I studied how I could be of value to him, and then when I came back to him 5 years later, 6 years later, I now I'm valuable. Now the market is growing. Now he sees, oh man, I talked to this guy before. You know, I
Mhm.
introduced my family. I met his family, and we
Mhm.
just started forming a bond and relationship. But it's more of making deep contacts and communication. It don't need to be just surface stuff with everybody.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
a lot of people now, they equate and they assume that because you're Facebook friends with somebody that y'all really friends, that's
Mhm.
so surface. If those are your only friends, then you ain't got no friends.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? It
I
needs to
do.
be face to face, deep, meaningful conversation, not just liking your posts. Liking those are not really your. I mean, it's okay, but those are
Mhm.
not your really deep, meaningful friends that you're gonna really have relationships with. Because
Mhm.
those
Mhm.
people you meet with, you go to lunch with, you go to dinner with, you hang out with, you go to meetings with, you network, and those are the people that you form strong bonds and relationships with. Those are the ones that's gonna make a difference.
So establish those relationships. And you talked earlier about knowing you bringing value. So even if you need to learn from them, you still got to figure out what your value is and be ready to share. But you're not going to just like vomit all over somebody about my
Right.
value, but just create that relationship knowing your value, right?
Absolutely. And again, you don't like you say, you don't have to just overwhelm them and say, I can do all this, da, 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 da. You just say, I can help you with this thing. And
Mm-hmm.
it's up to them to say, most of the time though, when you go to somebody with a value proposition and they see that you're serious about kind of helping them, they'll be like,
Mm-hmm.
man, nobody's came to me like that. Most people are coming to me like, give me, give me, give me. Nobody's coming to me saying, I'll give you such and such. I can do
Mm-hmm.
this. I can run these numbers for you. I can find deals for you. I can do this. It has to be some type of value that you are giving to the person in order for them to take you seriously and want to
Mm-hmm.
have a meaningful relationship with you.
Absolutely. All right. So I know there's so much more. So many because you've shared some things with us, and I was while you were off, I was talking about the Juneteenth event that we're going to be having, just talking about multifamily, commercial, and investing and creating partnerships. And you're going to be one of our panelists on that event. So that registration is actually available at twgpresents.com. There's an early bird out there for $20. We're going to provide breakfast and lunch as well as all of this, the people in the room and the information and the networking. And I will say that, Monty is always, if I call or whatever I ask, he's always, yes, he presented at another event and we ended up going and hanging out and having, dinner. I just learning and sharing invaluable information. So I will say that he is, very, very genuine. So if you have a question, You reach out on Facebook and ask that question first, and then figure out how to get build that relationship. So, what is your any final words of advice if somebody's out here is like, oh, I want to do this, but the economy, Trump, whatever is going on. How can they get over that mindset, that fear? What would you say?
Well, let me say one thing first. So, give us the times and dates of the Juneteenth celebration again, because I don't think
June.
people caught that.
Okay, it is Thursday, June 19th, actual Juneteenth, from 9 to 3 at the Self Help Credit Union in Durham. I want to say the address is 301 South Main Street. But it's at twgpresents.com where you can go and register for that event. So
Yeah.
that's what the details for that. And I think Tiffany Elders, who is a uh, Black female general contractor investor, she's going to be one of our panelists. And I should not have started naming names because I don't have everything in front of me, but just those two right there, James Monte Montague and Tiffany Elders. If you don't know, you better ask somebody.
Yeah.
So, and I know we're going to have a commercial lender. Yeah, so it's going to be a very informational, impactful event. So, and talking about from the realtor perspective, a lot of times we are there, we're at the table, we getting the smallest check because we're not the ones, the investors recycling. So we want to help realtors, help everybody to build that generational wealth because it is so important to build generational wealth because we don't know what we don't know, and we want to, our community is, not had the best history of building generational wealth. We get, we inherit Big Mama's house, and we like, oh, somebody give us the lowest offer. Oh, that's the most money we've ever seen in our life. So come out, learn, join us, and do, learn how to, continue to grow, start where you are, build that generational wealth opportunity. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So back to the question. So ask me the question again.
So, what would you say to anyone now that is maybe they want to start something, they want to do something, and maybe there's that fear of, oh, interest rates are high, Trump's going these doing these tariffs, my credit's bad, whatever it is. What would you say to somebody to overcome whatever obstacles that they might be facing, or in their mind or physical?
So the first thing I would say is, don't don't kick yourself down too bad. Number one. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Once you have something in your mind, write it down. Make it plain. Make the vision plain. A lot of people have all these ideas and stuff in their head, but they never wrestle it down. That was the hardest. That's why it took me so long to do my book. I had all these thoughts and ideas and stuff. I said, you know what? Nothing's gonna happen until I at least write it down. Write it down
Mm-hmm.
and get serious and get committed about it. And if you are serious and committed about it, there's nothing, nobody that can stop you. That's number one. Number two, sometimes you can't tell people from the very beginning that you have a dream to do this because a lot of times people are jealous and they'll try to talk you out of it. And then they'll try to do a whole other version of what you told them that you was going to do. You see
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So don't talk too fast about what you're trying to do. Now, once you get it established and say, okay, I'm almost there, then you can
Mm-hmm.
talk about it. Or if I've
Mhm,
done it, then you can talk about what you've done. But number
mhm,
one, don't share your vision and dreams with everybody coming out the gate because everybody ain't for you, right?
mhm, mhm,
Uh, and then don't beat up on yourself too bad. And then the last thing I'll say is you have to learn how to start with the end in mind and
mm,
visualize who you want to be 10 years from now, 20 years from now. What do you want to have accomplished? Do you want to be wealthy? Do you want to have generational wealth that you're going to pass down to your kids? Do you want to have a platform that you can talk about all the things that God has done for you? Or do you want whatever it is, you start with the end in mind and then you work your way backwards and say, okay,
mm,
this is who I am. I'm this person now. It's just I ain't got there yet. So what I
mm,
need to do to become that person? What things do I need to have happened between then and now in order for me to have become that person? And then you just work your way backwards.
mm,
It's
mhm,
baby steps.
mhm.
And you have to
Okay.
visualize and maintain. You got to stay there. You got to
Hmm.
be there. You got to live in that place. Even though you here now, but you got to live there. And you got
Hmm.
to claim it. Because
Hmm.
it talks in the word, it talks about, claiming things. You have to claim that future vision that you see for yourself. You can't just say,
Right.
well, I'm here and I ain't gonna never do such and such, but one day I'm gonna get over. No, no. You got to live there in
Hmm.
this temporary place where you are. You just here right now, but this is where you are. That's where you really live at.
Does it matter how old you are? If you're 8 or 80 or
Nah, it don't matter, and it's never too late. Start now. Start
start.
now with what you have, because if you're waiting for some magical day,
Mm,
then time is just gonna be fleeting.
right.
So
That's
start now with what you have, and don't worry about what you don't have. Just give thanks for what you do have right now.
okay. So are you gonna be doing any book signings?
Yes, I'm doing another book sign. I had one, a small one in Nightdale, couple when it first came out, about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. I'll be doing another one because a lot of people were kind of offended because I didn't post it. They just told me to come to it, so I'm gonna post the next one. And
Okay.
then the following, I'm doing one in June in Michigan on June 16th. I'll be going up to the Kellogg's Corporation. I'm the guest speaker. I'm speaking to their corporate executives and doing a book signing in Battle Creek, Michigan on June 16th, which is a little far to go. But if you happen to have people that are in Michigan, maybe they might want to attend or something like that. But I'll be doing local book signings here, and I'll post it and I'll share it with my network.
Okay. So yeah, I do have some family up in Michigan, so I will definitely share with them. Just make sure you're back by the 18th so you can be present.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely back. I definitely back.
And I wanted to say one thing too. You talked about using technology, but I know you showed us that you do like your visual, because you were talking about write down what you want. You have your visual, your board that you physically write
I
down
physically write stuff down.
your
So I'm still
goals.
a little old school. I mean, I still got the appointment book. You know what I'm saying? I'm still old school. I still take notes and stuff like that. I don't. Everything ain't technology, but when I
Mm.
need it, I need it. But I mean, yeah, I'm still old school a little bit.
And that's okay because seeing that physical board is different than having, just something written, typing up something. There's something about writing something versus
Right.
just typing it. So I just
Absolutely.
wanted to share that. That's another little tip that we didn't talk about today, but I remembered you shared with us. And I got my little whiteboard here with some stuff written on it as far as goals and things like that. But I need to get it a little bit more fine tuned and not be afraid because sometimes we think we're we lost him again. Did we lose you? Oh no, you got another phone
Please
call.
say I'm back. Are you back?
Yes, you're back. Did we lose you again? You got to dial
Can
out,
you hear
go
me
out. I can. I can. Okay.
again? Oh,
So while he's coming back again, I was just going to finish saying that we have to not be afraid of our goals. So write the goals, share them, and um, not share them necessarily, but write them down so that you can see them and share them where when appropriate. Just trying to see if he's back. Here we go.
goodness.
That's okay.
I never used this app before. Every time the phone rings, it freezes me up.
Oh, that's okay. I was just talking about, writing down those goals and not being afraid to have, what do they call it? Your wildly audacious goals or whatever. Don't be
Right.
afraid of it, but don't write it down and make a plan to get there. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I so appreciate you joining me today. What's your social media page? Like if somebody wants to, or do you have a website or how, if somebody wanted to ask you a question or get your book? I know it's on Amazon.
So my best way right now is LinkedIn, James Montague, LinkedIn, and actually the book is on Amazon. On the link in my bio at Amazon is on my LinkedIn. Instagram is Montes F7, Montes F7.
Okay.
Our other Instagram page, we just started that when we got the ranch, was the F7 Blackstone Ranch
Oh, yeah, I
uh,
saw that.
Instagram. Do you see that one? And
Mm-hmm.
then we have Facebook is James Montague. Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok. I don't know what that one is, but I think it's James Montague on TikTok. So I'm trying to hit all the little platforms. Um, So those are the best way to reach me and get up with me and ask me the stupid phone call. I'm fine with that. Reach out to me. I don't mind.
All right, and I bear witness to that. So, all right, thank you so much. It's been a wonderful conversation. I really appreciate you taking some time out of your Monday to come and pour into me and anybody that's watching the video. Did try a new platform today, so we had little technical difficulties, but we overcame it, and it should be live on Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram. So, and YouTube. I think I'm on YouTube now. So, getting out of
Okay.
my comfort zone and fear. So, all right. Well, we will be in touch, and I look forward to seeing you on Juneteenth and hopefully seeing you at one of your book signings before. So I'm gonna go ahead and order my book so that I can get it autographed when I see you.
That sounds great. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
You do the same.
All right. Bye, y'all. Remember to make your move because every step counts.
All right. Thank you.